What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. So, this actually makes me want to weep because the narrative from our people has always been, you know, there's been other movies that were released in the past that they say, everybody's got to see this movie. That's how we get more movies like this made. To my conscious black ear, that translates to, Masso let us do more if we do a good job. Massa give us mo. So this makes me weep. It makes me weep because you need to be in the frame of mind of, if this was ours, what we could do with this. When we think about liberation and revolution, there has to be independence. We have to be apart from this devil, period. And in this nation, one of the tools that you need to do that is fucking money. We must have independence. We should have our own, housing developments and track homes and apartments and hotels and banks and cleaners and car rental companies and grocery stores and schools and movie houses, theaters, everything you could name. I've bitched to the high rafters and will continue to bitch about the fact that we have all these $100 million athletes out there that don't do a goddamn thing to bring that money back to us. We have everything we need in the society right now to be completely and aside from this white devil. Everything we need. Everything. Everything. It's like there's a new mansion sitting on a hill with like 20,000 acres of land around it and shit. And somebody's giving you the key to it, and you never walk into the house. They go, but you have the key, bitch. Why aren't you? Do you know that's your house? And people would look at you like you had mental issues. Because we do. And your heart is in the wrong place, and your character is fucked up. And your sense of community is devoid, non-existent. It's all about me, right now, me. Not my ass in 5 years or 10 years. Not my lineage, not my offspring, not the next generation. My tired ass. Just me. This is the epidemic we suffer from. And so when you have that frame of mind and consciousness, then headlines like this send you into a deep depression where you damn near need to medicate. And the irony, before we read a single line, the irony is there is a beautiful black brother sitting there. Beautiful, regal and proud. You see what I'm saying? No process to his hair. Masculine, strong, not light skinned, and we have to squint to find out if he's really black and just all the shit. Nah, that's a brother, an African. I know his nutsack look and smell just like mine. But the headline above him doesn't belong to him. And that is the problem. That is the problem. That's the depression. There's a great line from, I think it was The Empire Strikes Back, one of the Star Wars movies, where Luke Skywalker goes, he's still trying to train to be a damn Jedi, and he goes to this, we'll call it an island, to train with Yoda, who is like a Jedi master. He's like several thousand years old. He looks, Well, there's a scene where he wants Luke to raise because Luke crash landed on this island, we'll call it. It's a swamp, it's a jungle, it's whatever it is. And so his X-Wing fighter is in the swamp. So now Yoda's been putting through all this training and all this and and teach him how to use the Force to control his, control his energy and control his feelings and And so they sit at the bank and he wants Luke to raise the X-Wing fighter out of the fucking swamp. Well, Luke is doubtful. He's got that doubty look on his face. So then he does the little dramatic closing the eyes and stretching his hand out to it, and oh my God, we see the water start to bubble around it a little bit, and one wing looks like it's lifting just barely a little bit, and then he's doing it, and all of a sudden he stops. And Yoda looks at him. Then he goes back over to Yoda. He goes, "I can't do it. It's too big. It's too big. You asked the impossible. I don't believe it." And Yoda looks at him and goes, "That is why you failed." It's the most powerful line in that movie. That is why you failed. Because you didn't believe it, is what he's saying. Not that you didn't have the ability. You didn't believe it. That is why you failed. And so this is why we fail and are failing every damn day and have for many generations and continue. Because of the lack of discipline and the lack of belief in ourselves. That yes, we can do it. Everybody else is doing it. And we taught everybody else everything they know. We're the first civilizations, understand. Black Panther smashes box office records and Hollywood myths. Well, there is no myth, you see? Because I've already told you, our brand is international. Everybody around this damn earth wants to be us. There's no people on the earth that influence humanity more than us. From food to fashion to technology to music to cult, anything you're gonna name. Some of the great fashion designer houses, your Versace's and your Saint Laurent's and Chanel and all this shit. They've always gotten that from us. Monaco is still big today. You understand? So, our brand is international. Why wouldn't our movies? There's no one more entertaining on the earth than us, because there's so much depth to us as individuals. So much depth, you see. So much depth. Everything about us. Cadillac can roll out a new car tomorrow, or Ford, or anybody. And by the way, they're pushing Lexus on your black ass with this fucking movie too. Oh, let us understand that. Product placement, my people, it's called. And they've already put a standalone commercial of the Black Panther that is for the Lexus brand. You see? So we're able to sell everything else around the fucking earth, but we're just not able to sell movies internationally when our brand is international. Everybody wants to be us. It's that simple. Los Angeles, Hail King T'Challa. The Disney Marvel movie, again, Disney Marvel, we don't own the ass. So that's White Devil, White Devil. You see? The Disney Marvel movie Black Panther, not the African American movie from, Bilal's production studio or some bullshit. No, no. The Disney Marvel movie, Black Panther, which finds the superheroic T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman, returning to his remote African kingdom to assume the throne, roared into theaters over the weekend as a full-blown cultural event, breaking box office records and shattering a myth about the overseas visibility of movies rooted in black culture. Do you understand that the movie industry in Africa has been thriving for many years, everybody? There's many African producers and directors that you don't know anything about. It's a huge market for black films. Because again, nobody's more entertaining than us. And we look better on screen. We just do. We just do. You always hear actors say they have to go and do research and they have to do character, they have to get into character and they have to, get into whatever it is the character, what was, is and this and the third. Well, if you're an empty vessel to begin with, you don't have a lot to draw from. We have so much nuance that no white actor will ever be able to draw on because they don't have the experience and are not having the experience. Can't do it. Can't do it. Of course, an African American superhero is going to be better than fucking Superman and everybody else they're going to name for you. Because he brings a flavor that is just inherent to him. His presence, a simple kick, is going to be different than a white man kicking. It just will be. It just will be. Remember Blade? Wesley Snipes? One could make the argument that Wesley paved the way for Chadwick. We could make that claim, everybody. Shattering a myth about overseas visibility of movies rooted in black culture. Global ticket sales by Monday, and this is Sunday afternoon, will total an estimated $387 million according to ComScore. Think about that. All of that goes to white people. Lupita, I don't know what she gets per movie now. Let's say she gets $5 million. I don't know. Yeah, maybe Chadwick got 5 or 10 or something. Who knows? Even if he got 20, I don't know if he's in that realm of $20 million dude right now, but certainly if he's not after this movie, he can be. But $387 million. That's more money than any human being can ever spend in one lifetime. You can't do it. $387 million. And that's just since it opened. I haven't even been to see the movie. And there's millions like me who haven't gotten there yet. I'll be slow to the punch. Because I got shit to do. So, that's just the preliminary in one fucking weekend. Then, that doesn't account for the repeat viewer. And then you have word of mouth as well. So not only the people who haven't gotten to it yet, but you also have the word of mouth. People that weren't going to go see it. Then somebody goes, you got to go see it. It was this and it was this. Okay, fine, I got to go see it then. We haven't even gotten into Blu-ray and DVD and Netflix and HBO and Cinemax and all of it. This will do several $billion when all is said and done. And we don't have shit to show for it other than to be able to say, we was able to see a black superhero. That's the cheapest bullshit ever. I'll show you my asshole if that'll make you happy. How about that? If you just need imagery. I'm over it. Black Panther instantly became the top grossing film in history by a black director, Ryan Coogler. By the way, I want to say something about Ryan Coogler. I wasn't really familiar with him all like that. I heard his name, but this movie hoopla provoked me to go around and see what I could find out about him. First of all, he does have a sister as a wife. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. I'm saying, appreciate that. I'm saying that's number one. All right, but I love that he's from I think he's from California. He's from like the Bay Area, Oakland. And if you just heard this brother in McDonald's someplace, you'd have no idea he's a filmmaker. Cause he'd be saying, you know what I'm saying, and he just talks real street. I love that. I love that. And I think the shine would be off it a little bit for me if he had like a white F on his arm. It just would lose its shine. It just would lose it. It just would lose it. It just would lose it. You know. It just would lose it for me. You know. But he is a ghetto ass brother, and I love that. I love that. I love that. Because it also speaks to something I always preach to you, especially to my brothers. You gotta have layers. You've got to have layers. A lot of our brothers are just stuck in that street shit. And that's it. Well, Ryan shows you can still be street, but you can also be a multi-million-dollar producer. And have some house worth some number none of us can fucking count. You know what I'm saying? The light bill is probably more than you will make in your life, certainly in a year. We don't even get into water, because that you just don't even get into that. But I was really impressed by that. You know, there he was up there talking to like Gayle King. He was like, yeah, Gayle, you know, film me because, you know, and he's real thick with it. And I was like, I love this brother. He's not fucking Lee Daniels with his little dainty fucking Christian Dior wearing ass. Fuck him and the bitch that gave birth to him. It's a real brother, you know. The closest that I ever saw before him was John Singleton, because John Singleton's real laid back. You know, he's just like unapologetically black. Like, fuck you, I'm John Singleton, and invite me. You know, so is Spike Lee. You know, but the tone is different because Spike is more. Is just he speaks educated, and you know, so you know, the from 1 to 10, you know. 10 being best, Spike would be like a 3 or a 4, John is like a 7 or a 6, and then Ryan is a 10, like straight up brother, like you want to chill with him, you know. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Like even when John Singleton did Michael Jackson's Remember the Time, I remember seeing some of the outtakes and some of the behind the scenes stuff, and he was like, you know, this is just different working with Mike, you know, because like if I want something, like I just say to somebody I want this, and if Mike wanted it, I get it. Like I love it. 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 He's not Lawrence Fishburne with all his I'm Lawrence, you know, and trying to be all professorial and overly intellectual and bullshit. I can't with that. Like, I just appreciate this is a straight up brother. Straight up. You could see, I mean, it's all in his body language. It's everything about him. It's everything about him. So I love that. So it's became the top grossing film in history. In history. Everybody. Instantly became the top grossing film in history. That's where the depression comes in. Because it ain't ours. We just in it. We just directed it and wrote it. It ain't ours. The money don't come to us. It don't. $387 million. And like I said, there's going to be several $1 billion when it's all said and done. We can make any fucking movie we want whenever we want. You understand? Then you have studios like Oprah and Tyler Perry. Nobody can cancel Oprah. You understand? She decides what can be seen and what can. She is total everything. She's everything. So you threaten their ass. You stand outside their house at night with a hot knife. And you say, bring y'all bitch ass on. You start a conglomerate that shatters, that squashes MGM and Paramount and Telepictures, and this one is from I forget who the fuck they're from, but you crush all of them. You crush them. Crush them. Suddenly the tables are turned. All white actors are trying to get into a black movie. Huh? Their movies all have to compete with ours now. They can't get their shit seen. They got to change when they release them and everything. Otherwise, they won't make the money. You got to have a bigger vision. We already have it. We're already the people. We possess every fucking thing except for the will. Instantly became the top grossing film in history by a black director. But I'm going to take out black director because it's going to be the biggest grossing film in history, period. By a black director and featuring a largely black cast. The previous record holder was Straight Outta Compton, which collected $214 million worldwide in 2015 over its entire run after adjusting for inflation and all of it. Did you see the Black Panther this weekend? Talk about spoilers here. Oh, that's one of those click-ons that you see with the New York Times. Okay. Disney, which supported Black Panther with a lavish 9-month marketing campaign, said on Sunday that ticket sales for the film in North America will total roughly $218 million between Friday and Monday. I lost my place. Damn. Between Friday and Monday, theaters scrambled to add showtimes to accommodate crowds. AMC South Lake 24 in suburban Atlanta squeezed in 84 show times on Friday alone. In many cities, moviegoers arrived in outfits inspired by the film. Analysts have expected Black Panther to arrive, or had expected it to arrive, to about 165 million in North American ticket sales, which would itself have been an astounding result for a release outside the holiday and summer corridors. The previous domestic record holder for a February release was Deadpool, which collected and adjusted 159 million over President's Day weekend in 2016. I want to stop and say this. Do you understand that on Thursday this fucking film made $25 million? You don't make money on Thursday on a film, everybody. That's why all films come out on fucking Friday. You don't make money on Thursday. You can't. You don't. But you do. You see, because they made $25 million just on fucking Thursday alone. $25 million on one day. One day. It always kills me that there's homelessness in this country. Oh, but this is a Christian nation, so of course there would be. Because the Christian talks about compassion. The Muslim practices compassion, you see. But you wouldn't have that. Because you'd go, well, we're doing this film to eradicate homelessness over the weekend. We'll do it. You don't think 385 million could take every fucking homeless person in this bitch off the street tomorrow? Do you think that? Because you could. You could. It makes me sick. North American audiences appear to love Black Panther as much as critics, signaling a strong run ahead. The euphorically reviewed film received a rare A+ grade from ticket buyers in CinemaScore. Exit polls. Black viewers made up about 37% of the domestic turnout, according to the Post-Track, fueled by large numbers of church and school groups, not to mention the pent-up demand for a superhero film led by black actors. I want to stop and say this. So, they're saying African people made up 37% of the domestic turnout. Because anything that we do, they are obsessed with us. You see? Obsessed. Obsessed. So they couldn't allow us to have this movie and then they not go see it. They had to go and see it so they could tear it down and hate it because they have a sick need to have something to hate and to be jealous of something. I always tell you, jealousy is not a natural human emotion. It's a learned behavior from this white devil. That's their attribute. It's an attribute of them. Jealousy is not a natural human emotion. It's just not. I'm so sorry. It's not. So stop saying that. There was never any doubt that Black Panther would rock the North American box office. Kevin Feige, the prodigy who runs Marvel, and Alan F. Horn, Disney movie chairman, neither one of those are African people, have delivered one juggernaut after another. Robert A. Iger, Disney's chief executive, told took a personal interest in Black Panther, approving its $200 million production budget, at least 30% more than budgets for other Marvel non-sequels like Doctor Strange and Ant-Man, despite concern by some at Disney about sales of Black Panther toys. The concept of an African story with actors of African descent at the forefront, combined with the scale of modern franchise filmmaking, is something that hasn't really been seen before. Mr. Coogler, the director, told the Hollywood Reporter, quote, "You feel like you're getting the opportunity of seeing something fresh, being a part of something new, which I think all audiences want to experience regardless of whether they are African descent or not." But no one quite knew how Black Panther would perform overseas. Big budget films that focus on black characters have long been held back by the Hollywood argument. Listen, so you mean to tell me that Will Smith's fucking movies haven't done well overseas? Not true. Not fucking true. A ridiculous one in the eyes of many critics, that foreign audiences have little interest in films with larger black casts. It has been a self-fulfilling attitude. Studios ever fixated on what kinds of movies have succeeded in the past never challenged the assumption with a big budget fantasy because they were always too afraid to take the risk. Black Panther arrived to very strong results in the United Kingdom, Belgium, Ukraine, South Korea, Mexico, and Brazil, and in many cases beating initial ticket sales for Marvel's non-sequels based on lesser-known characters, including Guardians of the fucking Galaxy in 2014. Black Panther was softer in Germany, an important market where the sadomasochistic Filthy Shades Freed outsold it. We're extremely pleased with the reaction around the world, even more so because we face nothing competitively for a month, said Dave Hollis, Disney's president of distribution. Okay, why do they have glasses on? Is there a 3D version of this? Students from the Capitol Preparatory Harlem School watched Black Panther on its opening night in Manhattan. Well, it must be in 3D. Everybody in the bitches got glasses on, unless they all trying to be like fucking diva and fierce and shit. It's 3D, I'm over it. Disney will release Black Panther in Russia, China, and Japan in the weeks ahead. Success in China, the world's fastest growing movie market, would be particularly sweet. If audiences there do not respond, however, it could have little to do with race. Yes it would, bitch. Because they don't like our black ass. But that's the thing about this. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if they don't like us or not. They still want to be us, and they still want to consume anything that we do. The vilest racist in fucking middle America someplace still is fucking listening to Kendrick Lamar, I promise you. But don't you dare come on his porch or on his land, nigger. You see, as he blasts Kendrick Lamar and Snoop Dogg in the background with his double-barrel shotgun. I'm over it. So the same with the Chinese. You see what I'm saying? They trying to be us, goddammit, because they are us already. They've just been seduced away. You see, I'm over it. It's a non-argument. Hollywood imports are losing their luster in China as local studios become more skilled at making blockbuster-style movies, because they're doing their own shit. Basically, how you translate that. Over the weekend in China, the locally produced Monster Hunt 2 arrived to more than 130 million in ticket sales. Lionsgate gave it a 69 screen release in the United States, collecting 390,000. So Chinese are going to see their own movie in their own land. You got to give them props for that. The frenzy surrounding Black Panther has been puzzling to some. Quote, it's an important chipping away at this Hollywood notion that somehow studios are taking a bigger risk if they cast non-white actors. But I don't see it as a profound change, said Todd Boyd, a cinema and media studies professor at the University of Southern California who focuses on popular culture and race. I ultimately see it as an exploiting of profitable of a I see it as exploiting a profitable niche. To me, there is real change afoot when diverse actors are cast in roles that are not inherently diverse. But many people stood in line to praise Disney for pushing toward more diverse filmmaking. Richard Gelford, chief executive IMAX, that's the fucking company, the large format movie exhibitor, which played Black Panther in more than 60 countries, championed Disney for delivering content that is compelling on its face, but also bridges the gap between different cultures and ultimately is a reflection of the shared values of moviegoers all over the world. Because again, there's more people of fucking color on this bitch on the earth than there are white people. You stop catering to them and you make fucking money. Period. Fuck them. Because their asses are dying off anyway every day, thank God. And their children are dropping dead every fucking day from that fucking Oxycontin bullshit. Praise be to Allah. So if you're in business, you go with the trends, and you have to know your demographic. You see what I'm saying? And you make projections based on trends and sales. Phil Constrino, director of media and research for the National Association of Theatergoers, noted the power of seeing Black Panther in a communal setting on a screen. Hopefully someday we'll look back at the release of Black Panther as the turning point when diversity and positive presentation of blockbusters switch from being an anomaly to being normal. But you know, this is also still vomit, everybody, because they highlight everything else. Where everybody's supposed to be in love with transgender now. We're supposed to all celebrate and worship at the feet of fucking Caitlyn Jenner and all the bullshit. You know, and you're nobody if you're not including transgenders and LGBT people and all that stuff. Okay, fine. But our shit is always first and front before any of that bullshit. And without us, you don't even get any of those other people making any strides. Because the first to struggle and continue to struggle in this bitch is us. If we can't do it, can't nobody fucking do it. Don't matter what they're trying to do. When I was a precinct captain for Obama's first campaign, I used to tell Latinos when I'm trying to get people registered to vote and get them to, vote for Senator Obama. I'm like, if you don't vote for Obama, one of y'all ass will never be president, because we always lay the path for everybody. Period. As much as I bitch about the Nation of Islam not being Muslims, and their little circus act, fine. But the truth of the fact is, you couldn't have mainstream Islam in this country with the mosques and stuff that we have now if it hadn't been for the Nation of Islam. Because they were the first visible incarnation of, if in quotations, Islam. So there's credit to be given there. But again, we always lay the path. We're the path makers. We just got to understand that we got to start making that path for our own ass. So we don't go to IMAX and say, can you please let me make a film, Mr. White Devil? We go and stalk Oprah's bitch ass and Tyler and Bill Cosby and everybody else that we know that has money and all these fucking athletes and say, your bitch ass is going to give me money to make fucking Black Panther now. Otherwise, Keisha and them going to take your shit. That's the thinking we got to be in. Stop making a path for every fucking body else. The first rule of survival is self-preservation. And Stacy Smith, an author of blistering studies about Hollywood's lack of diversity, wrote on Twitter in a message to Mr. Iger, who has made inclusion a priority across Disney. We have been watching. By the way, Disney was one of the first major corporations in this country to embrace the LGBT community. They were like, their employees could get married and they and be together, and they would give them, they would allow them to have benefits before they could get married and all that kind of stuff. I can't remember all the fucking detail. I don't know, but just I know that they were on the radar for that. You know. So why weren't you making black films? You just now can take the chance, and we're taking chances with diversity. Really? Wow. Um, we have been watching lead and supporting roles have been changing as well as behind the camera. There is more to be done, but this weekend is a giant leap forward. It's not. It's not. It would only be if this was an all-fair society. But yesterday is today and today is yesterday. Ain't shit changed since 1619. So we must always be concerned. We must also be interested in separate and apart from these fucking people. This is only good if it's like, oh wow, and then all the money would be for everybody. They will pay these actors and actresses and the extras and all of it, and then that's all it will be. It's like with the NFL and the NBA. We make that what it is. Why don't we fucking own it? Just like the black farmers in South Africa are kicking white people off their own fucking land. Take your bitch ass. Go. You don't know. You don't live here no more. You don't. And killing their ass off. This is our shit. And we will claim it. So, we should have that same frame of mind. No, we don't need to walk onto your basketball court or your fucking football field. We will get some of our great business minds from around the world, all Africans, and we'll put together our own fucking leagues. You're welcome to have a ticket if you'd like to come see us. We're happy to invite you. And take your coin. And send your bitch ass home. You see? You got to see the disappointment in this, everybody. This is not a good thing. It's not. It's a bonanza for the white man. It's a bonanza. These executive names that we just read, and the IMAX people and Disney and all of them, their children get another Maserati tomorrow, and they're not even fucking 16 yet. They're shuttling around the world on private jets and vacationing in Provence and all of it. Your black ass come out the movie with a good feeling, and that's it. I can tickle my ass for that. You understand? This is meaningless to us. Meaningless. Now I'm here to be the sober voice to snap your ass back into reality. We'll look at one more. Black Panther continues to make box office history. 195 million plus opening beats Ultron, and 4-day eyeing 225 million plus Sunday finale. But we already read in the first one that it's 300 and it's over 300. It's, what was it? 300 and what was the bullshit? 387 million. You see? Blew out their projections, all of it. Sunday, 8 a.m. Disney is reporting Sunday estimates of 192 million over 3 days for Black Panther and 218 million over 4. However, Black Panther domination is far from over. Industry is, and by the way, this is box office, everybody. You haven't gotten into merchandising. That will be another several hundred million just from T-shirts and toys and mugs and shit. And I don't know if any of the big food chains have come on board. McDonald's, Black Panther, or some bullshit, or Burger King, get a Black Panther toy or something. So there's going to be untold billions with a B when this is all said and done, and your black ass don't get shit but a good feeling. That's it. Just like when you go up in that Christian church every fucking Sunday, all you come out of there is with a good feeling. Nothing holy. Nothing holy. Nothing holy, because you don't get God where he doesn't exist. You don't. That's why you had no return on that investment since fucking 1821 when they handed you that shit. Meanwhile, Muslims are thriving by leaps and bounds over you in this nation and around the world. Same shit. Just give black folks a good feeling. That's it. No substance. No gain. I just feel good. I'm over it. However, Black Panther domination is far from over. Industry estimates believe it's significantly higher at 195.3. 3-day for Marvel Black Panther and a 225.7 4-day. And that's because hourlies are flying off the grid, with some analysts 4-day projections at 230, but I already told you it's 385. Saturday raked in 65.9 according to Disney, and their report this morning shows Black Panther as the 5th highest opening for all time on the 3-day domestic chart after Avengers, 207.4. But we already know it has beat Avengers now, because it's 385. And before Avengers, Age of Ultron, which is 191, it's killed all those off. The Ryan Coogler directed superhero movie is also beating Ultron's 4-day take of 204. Again, it has shattered everybody. It's everybody, including Straight Outta Compton even. Going into the weekend and throughout, we have emphasized that a cultural milestone, Black Panther, is as a movie directed by an African American filmmaker and largely starring a black ensemble cast. Back in the 1990s, following Demolition Man, Wesley Snipes tried to get his own version of Black Panther up and running. This resulted in visionary differences after talks with such directors as John Singleton and Mario Van Peebles. In addition, one of the commercial concerns at the time was that moviegoers would confuse the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby superhero as a member of the 1960s civil rights group. I'm over it. This is obviously not a concern in the modern day era of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In addition, as Ben Fritz's new book, The Big Picture, The Fight for the Future of the Movies reveals, Sony had a shot in the late 1990s to make Black Panther, in addition to a number of other Marvel superhero movies, in a rights deal valued at $25 million. But Sony brass crazily refused at the time, believing that the only moolah and mass appeal was in Spider-Man. Who better than Disney and Marvel now to spread the gospel of inclusion, says Disney distribution boss Dave Hollis this morning. Inclusion and representation matter, as he drank his fucking latte. You see? He wasn't saying that shit. You see what I'm saying? Because money is the god of this devil. Always has been. Always has been. You don't sit on the bus now wherever you want to because they had some moral epiphany. You sit in that bitch now because your money is green, and it allows you to be transported to financial centers to hand your money over to their white ass. Let the niggers sit wherever they want, damn it. You see? But we saw it as a victory instead of building our own fucking bus company. I'm over it. I'm over it. We've seen it time and again, and the results speak for themselves. Whether it's a female protagonist in the Star Wars movies, the representation of Polynesian in Moana, or the wonderful story of Coco, which was embraced so proudly around the world. We make movies for a global audience, of 7 billion, who come from all walks of life and reflect the diversity of our world. Audiences deserve to see themselves reflected on the screen, and it makes for better and richer storytelling. What makes the projection of Black Panther so wild is the non-stop bulk of people who are still yearning to see the picture. There are lines around the block for the film in New York City. the 18 to 24 demo per com score is huge on this movie at 36%. They're always the most difficult to get into the theater nowadays. They're the audience coming after 10 p.m. and the growth we had after that time period is bigger than expected. And trust you, as I'm telling you, trust me, from the moment they decided to do this movie, they put every fucking infrastructure in place to track every fucking number and dime and every bitch that's coming to see it. Trust and believe. Trust. So this isn't about inclusion. This is about money, everybody. They'll sell you a diversion story. Oh, it's about diversion. It's about diversity and inclusion. We just want all of our audience to see all the movies, and we just love everybody, and goodwill to all men, and fuck that. It's about money. Period. And they'll put their mother's dead carcass in a movie if it was going to make them a coin. Know this. Know this. Know this. It's that swing that keeps pushing projections up between midnight and 6 a.m. on Black Panther. Disney expects to make $50 million today on the Ryan Coogler directed film and another $26.1 on Monday. Industry forecasts are at $52 million for today and $30.4 for President's Day. Well, we see they've been wrong about all those numbers already. Like, it might do $1 billion by fucking next weekend. You know what I mean? From an admission revenue standpoint, yesterday was the second biggest Saturday in AMC history, slightly behind the all-time AMC Saturday record set on December 26, 2015 by Star Wars: The Force Awakens, that includes both AMC and Carmike pre-merger. The largest exhibitor in the world also saw 80 of its theaters repping 10% of its stateside circuit, setting admission revenue records for a single title on opening weekend. Fandango is reporting a significantly higher rate of repeat customers for Black Panther than it has seen for other superhero movies on an opening weekend. Group sales are unprecedented for Black Panther in a way that no Disney or exhibition insiders had ever seen before. Whatever you think the box office is, it always does better. Beam IMAX CEO Craig Foster about Black Panther's momentum. I wish I had more seats to sell. It's not like anything we've experienced before. It has taken on its own life, added Hollis on Black Panther's box office pace, which has torn up all previous comps. The way people are talking about the experience is that I saw it on Thursday, but I'm coming back on Saturday and I might be back on Tuesday. IMAX's 404 screens, driven by 77% in 2D, are grossing $20 million over FSS and $23 million over FSSM. That's a record February for the largest format exhibitor, and the best ever for any Marvel title, and the fourth best all time. Per IMAX, screen averages were 49K over 3 days and 56K over 4 days. Elizabeth Frank, Executive VP of Global Programming and Chief Content Officer at AMC, exclaims, Black Panther has taken on a life of its own at movie theaters, playing to huge, broad audiences in AMC markets around the country. We're delighted with the stories and pictures of fans who are enjoying the magic of the movie theater and turning the experience into a community event. As admission revenue records continue to be rewritten each day this weekend at dozens of AMCs, we are adding more showtimes and still have millions of seats available over the next 2 days to make sure that everyone who wants to see the movie on opening weekend has that opportunity. With the opening of Black Panther, ComScore reports that the annual box office for that period of January 1st through February 18th surges ahead of the 2017 frame by 6.1%, with a running total of 1.575 billion. All titles this weekend grossed 278 million, plus 85% versus the same weekend a year ago. Screen Engineer ComScore Post Track reports 37% African Americans attending, followed by 35% White Devils, 18% Hispanic, and 5% Asian. They update their exit polls throughout the weekend as they continually poll. Still 95% overall positive. Leading demographics: men under 25, 29%, men 25 and older, 27%, women 25 and older, 23%, and women under 25, 21%. Overall, it's a great weekend for the global film business, and I'm not going to continue to read these statistics. I'm over it. I want to say this: Warner created a customized campaign, blah blah blah, Black Panther, more numbers. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over it. All right, this is what I do want to say that is positive about this, and I'll end on this note. What is positive about this? Yeah, I'm glad I stopped, because there's a whole fucking War and Peace, more shit to read. I'm not doing it. I'm not here for that. What is positive about this, everybody, is, and I won't be able to back this up until I've seen the film. But preliminarily, what I can say is positive about this, even though it's not, we're not making a goddamn thing off of it. What I've heard from listening to the various actors and Ryan and interviews and stuff like that is what I expect to see from the film. I do know that they have, hold on you guys, I gotta go pray, but hold on. Yeah, let me end this so I can pray. But they've actually taken authentic African dialects that the actors are speaking in this film. I think it's Ankosa, if I'm, and I may be pronouncing it wrong. I know that's one of the languages that they're speaking in this film. That even though Wakanda is a fictional place, they have sort of, it's kind of like, we're going to show you Oprah's house, but we're going to build it on a set and call it not Oprah's house. It's like that type thing, you know what I mean? So they still bring the gravitas of what it is to be African. Many of the principles in the film are really African. You know, Lupita Nyong'o is from Kenya, and one of the other girls is from Kenya, and then somebody else is from somewhere else, and they're from different places. And Chadwick went to different countries to hear different dialects and to absorb the culture and to find himself too, you know. And so it's going to force people. There's a reality that's going on here that can't be denied, even though it's a fictional story and the character's fictional and all that. There's a reality that is going on in this film, you know, from everything that I understand. And so, and I also understand the reaction from the continent is very positive. They're very pleased with how African culture has been represented. And then also the costuming is also authentic to the continent. You know, the Psy is, even the rings around the neck and things like that. I was listening to Lupita talk about the costuming, even her and this other chick that plays the head general of something. So there is a lot of authenticity going on that forces non-African people to see African culture. It is African culture at the end of the day. It just fucking is. And so that is positive, whether it was going to be Black Panther or any non-slave movie that was going to be predominantly African cast. You know, forget the White Devil owns it. You know, if it's going to represent us, it's another opportunity for us for people to see our authenticity. You know, to show that yes, we are greater than what you think, and indeed we're better than you in many ways. You know, so yes, I you know, and even the idea of Wakanda is not too really far of a stretch, because we still have the greatest institutions of learning are in Africa, and we built the very first ever modern civilizations in all of it. So why wouldn't we have something that advanced, you know? And but for the fact that this white devil colonized Africa and is stealing all the resource from the bitch now, everything that I've named for you in my other video, everybody would know that's where it came from. Well, we can't have chocolate, we have to go to Africa. No, we don't have cell phones, you have to go to Africa to get it. It would have an African name on it. It wouldn't say Sony and Motorola and all the bullshit. It would have an African name on it. And down the list you can go. This is their greatest fear. We shatter their myth of superiority because they know we're better than them in every single way. It's not just sports and music. You know? We're better than them in every single way. At any test point, anything you want to put on the table, homie, bring it. We got you. We just do. You know? But that's more, it's usually not seen. You know? They only have white people on the field for football and on the court for basketball just as a gratuity. And just as a representation of white supremacy, because their white ass don't need to be out there. They just don't. There's no need for them out there. Period. But it would just look bad if it was only black. Then it's like, well then why is your white ass here then at all? Why are you the manager? Why are you the coach? Why are you the owner? What are you doing? We gotta start claiming our own shit. Tiger Woods is one dude. Do you understand? They literally, the way they used to build golf courses for many generations is a thing of the past. They don't even design golf courses like that anymore. You'd have to go like Google it. Because he exists and he's one dude. We could dominate fucking golf if we wanted to. There'd be no white people on the greens. Be no need for them. They may be a caddy, maybe, just maybe. Venus and Serena have shown you that we're just sisters. But they didn't have to be sisters. They could have been two sisters that didn't even know each other, and they'd still be number 1 and 2 in the world. There are no greater people on the earth than us. And we need to start acting like that. And stop putting our hat out for this devil to greenlight a film so our kids can go say, look, it's a black person on the screen. Fuck that. They need to get excited that a black person owns it and that they're going to see some of that money. That will be the day of victory and celebration. This is the Jedi.